One thing that keeps rolling in my mind, and I've heard said so many times, it's always been this way. I mean, look at the reasons why they burned the witches. Look at the reasons why they stole human beings from one continent and forced them into labor on another. Look at all the reasons, the justifications. It's always been this way. Doesn't your heart long for another? Doesn't your heart feel tired of the clamoring and the running the wheel and the disconnect and the numbness and the overwhelm? For there's far too much work to be done for one person or a partnership or a small family unit. It takes community to change a system. It changes authentic partnership and collaboration and connection and what's the word I've always been struggling on? Compromise. It takes compromise. And we've lost our way. We really lost our way. When you throw out due process, habeas corpus, we just knee-jerk ship people to a foreign land. That's not their homeland. Specifically, that man was born and raised in the United States. And to just up and ship someone and say, you don't belong here without due process. But we've been doing that forever. We've been working to control the people, and I think a lot about the patriarchy poison. Who is the root of it? Who started it? Why? And it can't just be like man becoming that corrupt, really, but a dark force energy, an evil force that has gotten in through the virus, which is the parasite of that, because all have been poisoned with patriarchy. Every single one of us around the globe, in one form or another, is that men are higher than women, and yet we were once matriarchy. Most tribes, I mean, we can't prove it without a shadow of a doubt. I was just talking to my middle daughter, whom I work with, on our breaks about this, and we can't prove it, right? We cannot prove anything we've studied without a shadow of a doubt. Things change all the time. Science is proven wrong all the time. There's so many religions for a reason, and if God gave free will, that does not mean there are exceptions. There is none. You can't, I mean, we often talk about you can't cherry pick the Bible, but it happens every single day by the most college-bound, spent their entire life in the church, to the novice, the beginner. We cherry pick because, I mean, we want certain things to be true, and I recognize that. I'm not cherry picking, though. I think of, personally, I don't feel like I am. Maybe I am. I'm not cherry picking in the sense of just when it comes down to the root of what divine sovereignty is, it's not trying to control another. It's not trying to push my lens on you. I can share my lens, and that's what I'm choosing to do, is to share my lens, but I'm in no way saying I have all the answers and you must follow me. In fact, I don't want anyone to follow me, per se, in what I'm saying, doing, or how I'm flowing. I want you to flow in your divine, sacred gifts. Everybody's been given them. And I don't want to be a carbon copy of what I see in the media. I want to like me for me, because I can connect to her, to him, sovereignty, divine sacredness. And I want you to connect with you and your sovereign and divine sacred mother, father energy within you. And then we pour out upon the people. We offer kindness and help and patience and integrity and respect, just for being you being alive and me being alive. Like I've just never understood it. I've never understood how we other each other, how we, and I do, because we've been conditioned to categorize and to grade and to rate each other and to, who's hot and who's not, who's up, I know people will call me a heretic for saying that God's a woman, but we have so many people that say, well, no, God's black, and or God's white with the long, gorgeous locks, and I don't know. How can we even fathomably put ourselves in that place where we say, without a shadow of a doubt, I know exactly what that energy looks like, feels like, because we're all just experiencing it. It's so unique, and it comes in waves and times and through people and through animals. Isn't she beautiful? God comes through nature all the time. Animals. So again, I want to say, like, when I think about it, I'm always talking about ancestors, and I'm obviously white. I'm very Caucasian, but I have an ancestry line of Norwegian and English and a pinch of Cherokee. And you could say, well, that's not enough to talk about ancestors, but no matter the color, we still have our ancestors. And I'm one that believes 50 generations back we're all related. And so I just think, and I've loved the study of social studies, sociology, just the study of culture. I couldn't sit and quote all the facts. I'm not trying to quote all the facts. I just am trying to experience it here. And I've wept so many tears at the thought of all the oppression and violence and genocides that people all around the globe have experienced, that I know my ancestors went through at some point. So for that alone, like, I just sit in awe that people don't find all culture to be so absolutely, it's the richest and most beautiful bit about creation is all the variety. Like, I was making a joke to myself, and I often do, about the variety we have in packaged foods. I wish we'd just all focus on the variety of this, of her, and then see the variety in each other and the variety of art and things that we can create with sustainable ways. And I think a lot about these companies that are these billionaires. Why not get on the wagon and just get really creative with us and be innovative, and with your money seek out the most talented and designers and creators and artists, make insane competitions that help solve all these problems, and you could be the starters of local commerce. You could still get a portion. It's not about like eradicating you. It's never, for me, that's the whole trickery of the system, the patriarchy poison, is that we've resolved things with our violence. That's men's way, right? Boys will be boys. They like to punch each other and obviously kill each other. And then 98% of the ones that do violence on women and men, 98. So, like, fellas, it's not working so good for you in your love lives. And then you take it out on women and men. And really, the answer is to change the whole, throw the whole lifelong, centuries-long system out with us. We can't possibly just keep putting you all in prison. Death penalty, that's also just, what? Let's just stop and change direction. I think of that a lot. Like, everybody can. It's okay to have been wrong in choices. I don't think either side is the right answer. And it isn't because either one are 100% evil, or maybe they are. Maybe the parasite has really just taken over completely. But even then, I don't wish anyone to perish. I wish for healing. I wish for healing and restoration and redemption to come upon the body and the spirit. Cleanse that soul. I think of the best parts of the Bible to me was when Saul became into Paul, because he's been this murderer, and I talk a lot about that. He took life of Christians, and yet Jesus took mercy upon him and gave him eyes to see and a heart to feel. Well, why would God do that? Why wouldn't, why? Right then and there, for me, I've never understood the justification of war, because Jesus does the exact opposite. He doesn't go to war. He sits on the cross. He takes it. He takes all the sin of the world. So why in the world do we justify and say, well, we're doing it in his name, in his honor, in chasing after that God's? He says we have to.